of the Max Rev Sunday Lockdown Special. I'm pretty sure, I hope you've sort of taken it that we did the Pinky Lai interview a couple of days earlier. We had some logistical issues. It was just great to get Pinky on the channel. If you haven't seen that video, you have to watch that video after this one. This is episode 8.5. We're lucky to feature Mario on this channel. We'll kind of bring him on in a minute. But I just wanted to say that Pinky Lai interview was a great moment for this channel. It's been a great day for me. I was buzzing the whole day. I hope you all just go out and watch that video. And we can actually talk about the car that he was actually referring to. I have a 987 Gen 2, which was not the very first, but let me bring Mario on screen and we can kind of get a bit more information here. So, hey, how you doing, Mario? You're on screen. Thank you for those that are joining us. And yes, there is actually a Sunday lockdown going out today. Great to see you guys there. Yeah, maybe, Mario, you can tell us sort of whereabouts in the country you're from, and we'll take it from there.
Max, good evening. Thank you for having me on. I'm here in Boston, Massachusetts. And it's actually Memorial Day here, a big holiday.
Okay.
And glad to join you on another episode.
Okay. And were you paying attention? Did you watch the Pinky Lai live stream?
So unfortunately, I had my alarm clock set because it was extremely early here in the States. So I saw you guys live right as Pinky was signing off. Okay. But I stayed up for the next hour and I watched the whole thing. It was a great experience to hear you be able to interview him and go back and forth. And we just gained so much knowledge of how the Cayman came about and his design lines. It was great to have Pinky on.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, when we talk about your car, let's give him a bit of a tribute. Let's not even refer to the numbers of your car because your Cayman is just the Cayman. So, I mean, obviously you can refer to it by the numbers and stuff, but which Cayman do you have, man?
So I have a 2007 base. It's the 987.1. It's a midnight blue metallic with the sand beige interior. And I'm more than thrilled to have it. And like I said in my video about a month ago, you were a big inspiration to start looking into the Caymans.
Oh, there you go. While we're here, let's just put some pictures up of your car. So that's there so viewers can see it. It's in great condition, actually. So for a car that age, were you kind of lucky to get the bodywork looks immaculate and the paint and everything?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Max. I had not seen any other cars. I was looking at quite a few online, but this is the first one that I actually went to visit and scope out. And other than a little bit of dust and dirt on it, sitting at the dealership, I could tell I wasn't making another stop at any other dealers. I think that was it. That was the car.
Wow. So how long have you actually owned the car?
I've had the car since October.
Okay.
Little funny story. So the day I actually picked up the car, we were having a very big birthday party for my wife. So I think I got the present that day.
Was she okay with you collecting the car? Did you have to travel out of state or was it quite local?
No, it was actually 2 miles away from my house. The dealership there deals with used exotics. He had a Ferrari, some Mercedes, some decked out European cars. And I was actually a little bit dubious the way I went about it. So I looked at his other listings. And he had a nice A4 Audi for sale. So when I went over there, I was kind of like, I was focusing on the Audi, but my eye was on the Cayman. Because I didn't want to go in full steam on the Cayman. I wanted to, use some leverage on it.
Listen, I'm just going to quote you. This guy's just sort of said, this guy's actually driven your Cayman, apparently. So do you know a guy...
That must be my best friend, Terry. Yeah, he actually took it for a drive yesterday.
Oh, excellent. And he just said the handling is amazing. So, yeah, I'm glad you didn't go for the Audi, mate. Otherwise, we wouldn't be speaking here on this channel right now.
I had no intention of buying that Audi. So, we had owned a couple of very old 911s in the years prior growing up. And to be honest with you, I had a Mercedes C240. And before that, an Audi 90. And
that was a classic, though.
Yeah, but I had nothing but problems with both of those cars, especially the C240. That car had a lot of rust issues, electronic issues. The Audi 90 was just very slow. And then actually after those two cars, I had a 2007 A4, the 2-liter turbo. Okay. and the piston rings went out on me.
Are you kidding?
No, and thank God I had a warranty on it, because that was like a
Jeez.
$7,000 or $9,000 job.
Wow.
So at one point in my life, after always owning German cars, I said, you know what? I'm married now, starting a family. I've had enough of visiting all these mechanics and garages. So I kind of said, okay, I've had enough. But there was always that missing feeling about the Porsches.
So
So
is this Cayman of yours the very first Porsche that you've owned?
absolutely not. The first car that I owned at 16 years old was a 1971 Porsche 911T, T for touring.
That was your car.
So we had
Oh,
two of them.
wow.
My dad, when my brother was 16, I was 12. We're 4 years apart. So my brother was always the brains of the family. He had researched, okay, what's the best car out there? What's fast and what handles? We were never really into the American muscle car type. You know, being from Europe, being from Greece, we always were more connected to the European vehicles. So my brother did all his research and told my dad, I want a Porsche. Well, I won't show you the finger that my dad gave my brother, but my dad kept it in mind. And my dad actually in Greece had mentioned that he loved to watch car rallies. And one of the vehicles that would always win those rallies was the old 911s. So the two of them started a search, and back then we had something called the Want Ad, which was, this old newspaper type magazine, and you'd look at the, cars for sale.
Yeah.
And they located a car about an hour from the house, and I went on that trip, and the gentleman had a 1970 911T in a barn in his garage.
Wow.
And he had it for sale. And Max, back then, those cars, nobody wanted them. I mean, you would just see them rusting about. So that first vehicle was actually in decent shape mechanically, needed some light body work. And my dad and my brother ended up buying that first 911.
Was this the white one?
It was originally silver.
Okay.
And they painted it white. And as I said in my video, my dad always wanted to keep stuff original. But, he was fighting off teenagers about driving, an old silver Porsche. Why not paint it?
And, let me just bring some pictures up of the car, because there's some great shots here. So this is you can't see the picture, but we've got a younger version of you leaning against the side of the car, and this is the one that's painted white.
Yeah, well, we had two of them. They were both painted white, and the one that you're going to bring up is actually mine. That's the 71.
Wow. Look, I mean, the tail on that car at the back, it's huge.
Yeah, we had to fight my dad for that too. It wasn't original. We found the ducktail.
Yeah.
I mean, we would travel all over places. I mean, that's the great thing about having a love for cars. It was a family thing for my brother and my father and I. And that car was original, that you have up on screen, was originally signal orange.
Okay.
And I think if we had still kept that car, I would definitely have it go back to its original color. It was a mistake to paint it, but back then we were young and we wanted to change stuff.
Well, speaking of being young, there's this great photo of you all dressed up in a tuxedo with the red rose. And I haven't asked you what the special occasion was, but can you tell me, did you actually, what was the special occasion, and did you actually go in that car?
Yeah, that was I was asked to be a prom date by a young lady, so
wow.
I ended up showing up at her home in a classic 911.
How to make an entrance, eh?
Yeah, I got some attention with that car, to say the least, when I was, in my teens.
That's amazing. So do you even remember, in terms of insurance and so on, was it pretty straightforward for you to drive? I can't imagine there being many kids that age in a 911T.
Yeah, no, was no issues. It wasn't that expensive to insure them back then, and that picture was probably taken in 1994. It's a 71 vehicle, so the insurance wasn't too bad on those.
Wow. So do you mind me asking, how did the car kind of no longer stay within the family possession?
Yeah, well, the one that you had up on screen with the ducktail, it was a mistake. Both of them, both the times that we sold them were for other reasons that were needed for back in the day, which turned out to be the right decision at the moment. So we just go forward, man.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you. I mean, there's a ton of things that I could look back with, but I like the whole thing about it. You always just go forward and do the best.
Yeah, well, it was, as a car move, it was the wrong move, but as a life move, it was the correct move.
Correct.
So we move forward, and like I had said in my video that I sent over about a month ago, I always had that empty feeling when the garages would pop up, and there wasn't one there. So back in '06, when the Cayman S came out, I remember being at a Porsche dealership with some friends, just looking at the cars and seeing the Cayman for the first time, and I was really taken back, and I just thought it was such a different devised car, differently sculpted. It was like a completely new vehicle, and the thing that really hit me was that it reminded me of my 911s because it was a small car.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. Looking at the back of the 911T from those days, that's
similar, yeah.
Yeah.
So that always stuck with me, and I just about 8 or 9 months ago, just hit me again, and I started putting in Porsche car reviews on YouTube and all that stuff, and just kind of reacquainting. And then I ran into your channel, and the thing that sets your channel apart is that you have a great passion for the vehicle. So I said, you know what? I always like that look of the Cayman. Let me start, checking some ads out.
Well, I think what differentiates this channel is that many other YouTubers have enough money to change their cars probably every 3 to 6 months. But for me, I kind of call myself like a regular person. So once I make my mind up, it's not there to chop and change just to make a video. That Cayman is part of my life. It's yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I started going through the ads, and the Cayman that I purchased was literally 2 miles down the street from my house at this European dealership. So the day that I went to initially go see, the first time I went to go see the Cayman, I was with my 6-year-old son. So, I wasn't able to test drive it. Like I said, I paid a lot more attention to the Audi because I didn't want to go in full force to show the dealer that I was just coming in for that car.
Was there a little bit of negotiation on the price, or, did you get away with anything?
So I visited him. I the first time I went to go see the Cayman was last August, and I ended up buying it in October. So the first initial visit, there was no mention of price. I just quickly looked at it, and I was with my son. Obviously, I couldn't test drive it. He's only 6, so I left. And to be honest with you, I have a family now, wife, 2 kids, a lot of other responsibilities. So I tried to forget about it. Wasn't happening. I mean, I would wake up at night. Sounds a little corny, but it wouldn't go away. The Cayman.
This is one thing I like about the Cayman. So you hadn't driven the car at this stage. You've just seen videos about it.
I had never driven a Cayman.
Yeah. I'd love to know how many people who own Caymans or want to buy Caymans. Is it the looks that just pulls you in? And we all know the handling and the dynamics are great, but we don't drive that ourselves. So, is it a visual thing that pulls us in first? And then, we take it thereafter. Because I know with me, they say never judge a book by its cover. But if there was a great handling car like the Cayman, but it looked just like a box, it wouldn't quite appeal to me.
Well, it touched all the boxes of what I was looking for in getting a Cayman if I was going to do it. I definitely did not want a manual. I wanted the either the Tiptronic or the PDK, just for my preference. I do a lot of city driving, and I think just the lines of the car, Max alone, it's a small vehicle. I like the interior. It's simplistic, and it just reminded me of the old 911s, especially the body size, because the 911s have just blown up and gotten so big.
It's interesting you mentioned Tiptronic. So I've never driven a Tiptronic. I've only kind of read about them. But the thing with me, obviously people say, PDK is better. But obviously PDK will give you quicker shifts. But do you find that the shifts with the Tiptronic, it's still a smooth experience? There's no shudder through the transmission?
Absolutely. I've had the car now since October, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't find any drawbacks to it. I mean, it's right there on your thumb on both sides. And it launches pretty quick. It's not that bad. It's not that bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's one thing I've always wanted to do because I think people are just, there's this kind of like spec war where just because PDK is the latest, they then think the older one is not that good. But I mean, who cares about milliseconds on the shift? As long as
Well,
it's smooth.
had a bad experience with the old 911 because the cable snapped on one night and I was stranded
Of the 911T.
on the 911T.
So
Yeah.
cables snapping on a Porsche go that far back in history.
That's why your episode with numeric was another great one. I was stranded, so I wanted the Tiptronic. I had honed in on the 987.1, and another big issue was the IMS.
Yeah, but I guess you're safer going with the base though. You should be. You don't get a lot of the issues with that, do you?
Well, from all the research that I did before I went to go look at the car, it seems pretty uniform by the experts out there that the 2.7 liter engine in the base just doesn't have the IMS issue pretty much at all.
Yeah, I mean, generally, I think they're always going to go, if you're going 987 Gen 1 bases, generally, I mean, these are all statistics at the end of the day. We don't know how many people get affected, but, the base is a wise choice. And at the end of the day, Pinky said it first, it is the Cayman.
Well, yeah, and I want everybody, who saw the episode, and I'm sure it's many of you out there, that, he was very explicit when he told you, don't sell it. Don't sell your Cayman. Because I'll tell you a quick story. When we had the 911s, they were fairly old back then. It was 94, 95. And we had a friend who had a Porsche 928. And when he came over and saw our vehicles, he was kind of like, dismissive. He said that, these cars aren't worth anything. They're old. They're never going to hold any value. So if you Google a 1970 911T in, pristine condition, you're looking at over $100,000.
Well, there was one in my local Porsche Brooklands. I swear it was about £170,000.
Even more. I've seen one go for 199.
Wow. But yeah, these are the ones in mint condition. Yeah.
I'll take Pinky's advice. Keep your 987.
I mean,
I love the lines of the 981 and the 718, but a Gen 1 car historically is something special.
Yeah. So is it your daily driver, by the way?
Absolutely not. I hadn't driven it in the last 5 days because of the pollen count. Okay. I take great care of it. It doesn't see any rain. I drive a 2019 Toyota RAV4 on a daily basis.
Wow. So in terms of mileage, do you think it's going to be, how many miles do you think you'll rack up in a year?
Okay, so I bought the car last October. It had 46,400 miles.
Wow, that's low.
I'm at 47,200 right now. So I haven't been driving it a lot, but when I do, it's very spirited, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably in a similar stage of life in me, because I think I bought the two-seater sports car after getting married and after having 2 kids, and I wanted something that, like as you get a little bit older in life is, I mean, the end is a long way away, but then you kind of go, if I don't do it now, when am I going to get this kind of car? And you sometimes just have to make the decision and go for it.
Right, yeah, I drive it a lot now in the spring and the summer. I'll drive it a lot more now. In the winter here, it's virtually impossible with the New England weather, with the amount of salt that they put on the road and the snow. So this is the time to definitely enjoy it.
So given the weather where you live, would you actually consider putting winter tyres on, or are you just going to keep the summers on and not take the car out in winter?
I take it off the road probably by the end of November, so there's no reason to do any swap outs. Okay. I keep it garage in November probably till March. That's what I did this year.
No, that's one thing I miss. I don't have a garage, and I think a lot of the guys in the States, it's like they're like, "You don't have a garage," like.
Well, it's okay. It's an excuse for you to drive it more often.
I watched it a couple of days ago, but I think there's just a lot of sand coming out the sky. So you look at it, and after about a week, it just looks a bit dirty. But hey, these cars are to be driven anyway. So. Yeah,
absolutely. You don't want them sitting for a long time either.
Yeah. So just out of interest, when you bought your car, because it was quite low mileage, did it have did they do like an inspection on the car before you bought the car, or did you check the service history? Do you know what's been done on the car?
Yeah, it had a little bit of service history. The car was originally in Arizona, and then the owner moved up here. So it was a one-owner car when I got it. He had sold it. What they told me at the dealership is that he had gotten a little bit older, and it was harder for him to get in and out of it. So he sold it to the dealership, and it looked like he maintained it very well. There were some maintenance records that he had, but I did a PPI before I bought the vehicle.
Okay, because I was just thinking, I know so my car, when I read the manual, the manual kind of says when it gets to 12 years old to change the transmission fluid. So I was just wondering, being Tiptronic, do you know if the transmission fluid's been changed since the car's been left the factory, or
Yeah, to be honest with you, Max, the only thing I did was change the oil when I got the car. So I talked it over with my mechanic who works on a lot of exotic vehicles. He's actually up the street from my house. He does a lot of Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, a lot of rally cars. And so I'm at 46,000 miles, 47 now. And he said, you know what, right before we take it off the road in November, we'll go through and check everything. He said, let's just change the oil. And we sent the oil out for the metal fragment test.
Oh, wow. Okay. Who did you send that off to, by the way?
He did it, so they drain the oil in a little container and they send it off to this, lab, and they do, I don't know, it was like 30 or 40 different analysis. One issue is the IMS. They want to make sure that there's no metal fragments coming out of the oil. And it came back super, super clean. There were no issues.
See, I don't know if this is a US thing, but in the UK, I'd never really heard of that. So I believe it's next week we're featuring Blackstone Laboratories that literally do this oil diagnostic testing. Well, you send them a sample of oil and you get a big report back with the different types of elements they find in the oil. So I think that's fascinating stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. So he sent me in the mail, this huge piece of paper, and there was like 40 or 50 different, oil tests that they had done looking for different particles, metal fragments, any dirt in the oil, any sludge. I mean, it was kind of intricate. It was like going to the doctor for a blood test.
Yeah, indeed. So in terms of the exhaust, has it got the standard exhaust? It's not a sports exhaust, is it?
Yeah, so the base Caymans in 07 came with the single exhaust, and mine came with the dual exhaust. Okay. So somebody must have upgraded it at some point in time. So and from what I can tell, it's probably a little bit louder than what would have been on there originally.
Okay.
So the only other thing that's not original to the car are the wheels.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a great looking car. I'll bring it up one more time so people can kind of see the. That's the inside. Where are the wheels? There we go. They're the wheels. But are they OEM wheels? They're not Porsche wheels, are they? They don't.
Yeah, I believe they're a Sport Cup edition. They're a pretty popular wheel for Porsches. So right before they sold me the car, the dealer had put on new tires. So maybe they put on some new wheels, to sell the car. I'm not sure. I was very happy with what I saw, so no reason to scan too far back on what kind of wheels there. So it looks like they put those on brand new.
Yeah, I think these guys are actually chatting about this right now. Nate's goes. So the reason I was asking about the exhaust is that I want to put a sports exhaust on my car because I've just got the standard exhaust, and I think I've literally just hit the nail on the head that what I want to do, and that is I want to get probably like a Soul Performance exhaust kit, but I want to get the Porsche PSC switchable button on the inside, so it all looks factory. So you get the factory button, you get the factory wiring. But I want to try and hook that and I think that could be cheaper than actually buying the original exhaust from Porsche. So,
Yeah, I think the original exhausts on the Caymans were a little bit on the quiet side.
Yeah.
And that's a modification that doesn't alter the body of the car. You can always change it out, and why not? That'd be a modification I'd look into as well.
I don't know if you saw the live stream with Nate, but he seems to know a lot about your car. So he's been chatting. You can read the comments later.
Yeah, he made the one, the wheels on one of the comments.
So he says, you got the Sport Edition Cup 4 wheels.
Yeah.
Thanks, quite. Nate. There you go. Now, by the way, Nate, if you want to jump on the call, just jump on and you can answer the rest. Any more questions we've got? Oh, that's good. So, in terms of power, by the way, I'm guessing that the base Cayman's probably got more power than the 911T from the 70s. So, is that something you can recall?
Oh yeah.
Roughly, okay.
It's definitely faster than the older 911. But that old 911 hauled ass as well. Don't get me wrong.
I can imagine it being a very light car.
Yeah, that was a 2.2 liter. I think that put out about 125 horsepower back then.
125, wow.
I believe it was only 125 horses on the 911T.
Yeah. I was looking at a video of the first 996, and that was, I think, 300 brake horsepower. So that's less than the Cayman S. So it's amazing how the horsepower figures, if you go back far enough, now we may just think that's like a normal family saloon car.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the great thing about Porsche. They wanted to build a smaller car with a decent engine that can go quick because of the lightweight of the body.
Yeah.
So that old 911T definitely had that DNA in there. It was a fast car, but my Cayman now is definitely a quicker vehicle.
So here's something interesting. We've got a comment from a guy in Germany here, and he's literally said the 987 Gen 1 has already been mentioned in 2 German car magazines as an investment in the future. Now, I know that, we shouldn't think of I don't think of cars as investments. I just want to have fun with them. But, it doesn't hurt if they can kind of, keep their value as well.
I'll go back to what Pinky said the other day. He told you, Max, don't sell it. And you heard it on your show from me. The 987 is going to go up in value, and it's going to be sought after. It's a Gen 1 car. It's a little spaceship the way it's designed. It harkens back to a lot of older Porsche vehicles. And I was actually on a 987 group on Facebook, and I had made a comment that I think the 987s are going to be worth some money in the future. And they just started blasting me. They told me it's not, the car can't hold its value now. It's the same thing that family friend told us back in the day about our old 911. So yeah. I'm sticking to my guns. I think it's going to go up.
So when was this conversation on Facebook, by the way?
It was maybe a month after I had got my vehicle. Okay. It's a 987 owners club. And they were just blasting at me. And they're probably Cayman S owners, so they don't like us base guys. But for me, we're all one big family. But,
exactly.
Anytime you have a Gen 1 car and you can maintain it and keep its condition, and that's why I baby it a little bit too much. And for me, I'd never want to get rid of the car. I see all the new 718s. I've been to the Porsche dealership. They're fantastic. They're beautiful. But the lines that Pinky created on the 987 can't be replicated.
Yeah, I have to admit, sometimes I'm in two minds because, like the language now, he was talking about the fender hips being above the centre line of the rear deck, okay? So basically, the higher wheel arches. And I've kind of got to say, I look at the 981 and I really do like, I'm kind of mixed because there is a part of me that does prefer the 981 lines because it's, he mentioned the roof line just curves all the way down to the back. But I'm very happy with what I've got. So believe it or not, I've spent the last 2 and a bit months trying to. I know it sounds really crazy. I'm mentioning it now. But I was writing. I got someone to sing. I've kind of put together a Porsche Cayman song, and it covers the 987, the 981, and the 718. And wow. I've been spending the last couple of months on this. I've got a guy to sing the words for me. So all Caymans are great, basically, and I hope to sort of put out a little tribute song to all the Caymans shortly.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to own this Cayman now. It's 13 years old. So, I remember back to having the 911, and that was a lot older back then in the 90s. And, the longer you hold on to them, you just don't know the value. But honestly, I could care less. I don't care about the value. Yeah. I want to live it, enjoy it. And I think for me, let's be real. How fast can you go on a local street? You know what I'm saying? Unless you're tracking the car. So, it has its limits in regular roads. So, for me, it's the right combination of looks and power. I'm happy with it.
Right, so let's kind of dip into some of the comments here. So I think we've touched upon a few that basically said they love your car, don't sell your car, and they kind of touched upon how obviously the base I didn't know this. It's got the 2.7 has got thicker cylinder walls compared to the 3.4, so there's less chance of getting cracked cylinders as well. So the base seems to be the one to kind of go for. I'm not sure why Nosh is. Someone is asking who wants to chip in and buy a low mileage 987 with me. So I don't know if you're thinking of doing a group buy or what the deal is there, but let us know a bit more in the comments. Someone's asking me why I'm not doing the singing in the song. Well, I think that's quite obvious, so I'm not going to really go into that one. But when the song comes out, it was sung by... Yeah. Well, believe it or not, I finished it today. Just like I've been in the study today. I want to rest tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll put it out. But putting the video together was a bit of a pain. But it's a little bit of fun anyway. It brings us together in a bit of a nice way. And also the 2.7. Oh, you got the Vario cam. There you go. So you'll have a little bit more power due to the Vario cam.
Yeah, Max. For me, the power is more than enough. I mean, when you punch it from third to fourth gear, and then your fourth gear is really, wide open, you can stay on fourth for a while, and then getting to fifth is just more of a treat. So I think the 5-speed gearbox for me is enough, and I'm enjoying it right now.
Yeah, actually, that's one thing I missed when I had an automatic in my previous car is when you punch your foot down and it goes down a gear and it goes, you kind of miss that sense of immediacy with the manual,
Yeah, a lot of people knock the Tiptronic, but I'm finding it thoroughly enjoyable. I remember driving the old 911. That clutch was very heavy. I just, I'm a little bit older now. I just want to push and go.
Actually, let me bring up your steering wheel because there's no paddles, is it? It's just all on the buttons, isn't it?
It's the buttons on either side, plus, minus, plus on the top, minus on the bottom.
And how do you find it works? I remember when I was looking to buy my car, people kind of said that they accidentally would press the buttons. I mean, do you find that happening as you drive?
No, not at all. Because you engage it with your thumbs. So when you're holding the steering wheel, your thumbs are not going to press the buttons. You have to mentally do it, be in that position. For me, so far, it's been no problem, and the transition through the gears is very smooth. And when I was researching the Tiptronic, a lot of people were knocking it because then the PDK had come out, but for its time and for what it does, it's actually not a bad experience at all.
Yeah, I know. So Nate's just kind of come in saying they've got enough power, but maybe it's me because I went for a drive the last couple of days actually. So I had a day off on Friday when I did the Pinky interview, and there was a part of me that would like more power in my car, and I was thinking of doing some of these power modifications. That you can get a GT3 throttle body and an IPD plenum, but then there were a few people advising me that I could run the risk of possibly damaging my engine or something like that. So I'm staying well away from that.
Yeah, I think we just have to be happy with what we have. It's not like we went out and picked these cars at the dealership. I mean, whatever was available, we had to sort out.
Correct.
So, I've been going on some spirited drives, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. At some point in life with many things, you just have to say, okay, there's a limit, and just enjoy what you...
Oh, indeed. I mean, in the same way that I kind of lust after a GT4, but, I'm not going to say it's never going to happen, but you do what's right given all things considered. So your life, your family, and, I didn't want to go into debt for my car. So, but it doesn't stop me dreaming now and again.
Yeah. How do you find the PDK shifts? Yours is manual.
Mine's manual. I mean, yeah. So I don't think that,
God twos with the PDK?
I haven't sat in a guy who's got a PDK. No, not 987 Gen 2. That's a 981. But I guess it depends. There's no right or wrong. There's sometimes you get these gearbox wars, but I think it's whatever works for you. One thing I do like about obviously having the manual, I can engage with it. But the trouble is, when I shift and I put my foot down, I'll be honest, my body ends up moving not because of the power of the engine. It's due to my shift and how I've matched. I don't have rev matching on my car, so I would love to have the auto blip. To me, that would make the manual with the rev matching on the auto blip. That works for me.
Yeah, like I had said in my videos, a lot of the modified vehicles out there, they look great. I mean, there's so many modifications that you can do to it. But I'm going to take my dad's advice and, try to keep it as pure as possible.
Yeah, I agree. So someone just put up a comment, which we'd have to research. But the Tiptronic in the Gen 1 is actually a Mercedes gearbox. Now, I didn't realise there was any. Well, I didn't realise there was any part sharing between Mercedes and Porsche. I don't know who it comes from, but that's something to look into afterwards. If are you one of these guys that kind of like really washes the car, keeps it super clean? I was guessing you just like to drive it and enjoy it, yeah.
Yeah, I actually, in the winter, I covered it with the cover and I put 4 cones around it, so when the kids are running around, they know don't go near. Yeah, man. I mean, I've visited all these local stores now. I have so many spray detailers, waxes. I actually bought a foam gun. I mean, there's no car wash for my car. It's done at home. I do it myself.
There we go. There are just a few people chatting away about the... So it's Nate as always. They're Audi Drive Getrag transmissions. So bulletproof because... Actually, that's a good point. I never get to hear anything that goes wrong generally with PDK or Tiptronic transmissions. I mean, maybe there are faults out there, but I can't think of any at the top of my head.
Yeah, when I sent the car over for the PPI to my mechanic, he told me, I actually was concerned about the IMS, even with the 2.7, because, it's so blown up when you go on YouTube and read articles about it. Yeah. And he just started laughing. I'm like, dude, what are you laughing at, man? I want to make sure the car doesn't blow up when I'm driving. He's like, listen, that's pretty much, maybe 3 to 5% of vehicles. There's a lot of these cars made. He goes, with the 2.7, I'm really not worried about it. We'll send out the oil for the test. And he was just laughing at me the whole time when I mentioned IMS with this engine.
So in terms of your base, I don't know how old your kids are, but are you planning to maybe keep your Cayman and then, let your kids get into the car? Because, your father had the 911T. Are you going to try to do this as a family tradition and keep it going, or you'll just see what happens?
Max, in 20 years... your channel will still be going strong, and I'll still have the midnight blue metallic Cayman. I'm not getting rid of it. Wow. I'm not getting rid of it.
Wow, that's great.
We have a Porsche event coming up in September. Now, with everything going on, who knows if it's going to happen or not. But every year they have a Porsche event in our area here. And, I'm hoping to take my son and my daughter there. And so they can have the experiences that I had growing up with my dad. Absolutely, I'd like to keep it in the family for as long as I can.
It gets tricky. I've got 2 kids as well, but you can't take the Cayman because you've got 1 seat, so you'll have to go in the other car.
Right, the event,
Oh, cool. Even better. There you go. I tell you, we've got... You know what, Nate? If you're around, listen, just... call me up and we'll get you on the channel because he seems to be... There's a lot of people asking questions about your car and he seems to be fielding all the questions. So Nate, put it up in the comments. If you want me to call you up, I'll bring you in if you want.
What are some of the comments?
So they were going on about the gearbox. So whether it is German, Audi, it's made by Getrag. Yeah. A few people just sort of saying, I think it's probably... Check your manual, but it might be worth getting the transmission fluid changed when you roll into November time and you kind of like park up the car, because I think looking after the transmission fluid can really help with the gears.
Absolutely, right around that time we'll go through the entire vehicle.
Yeah, that's cool. So I mean, there's no like long trips you've got planned. Like since you purchased the car, it seems like you haven't really put that many miles on it. Would you plan like some kind of a road trip or
Yeah, absolutely. Now with the summer coming up, definitely take it down to the seaside. Or maybe up to the mountains, go for a spirited drive and just get away with it. Absolutely, yeah. Okay.
So I've never done this live, but somebody wants to just say how great your car is, and it's Nate. So are you okay if I bring him in, or should we... let's see what happens. So I've never done this thing before, so I hope he's ready to... I think he says he's got a lot of useless knowledge on different things. So how are we going to do this? Please bear with me for 2 seconds. You're welcome to call me up, Nate, if you can figure this out. You know what? I don't know how to do this while I'm live, so we'll do that another time. Or Nate, just call me up and we'll try and see if it works. That's the great thing about this community, so, and doing it live as well. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's great because you learn so much from the other members, and that's important because if you have certain questions, it's good to have a lot of people to help you out.
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a ton of things actually, to be honest, through these guys. Let's see. You know what? I'm scared that if I call him up now, I'm going to drop you off. So let's just leave that. Let's just do that another time. But there's a lot of people showing love for your car, so that's a great thing.
Yeah, I try to take care of it as much as possible. It doesn't see the rain. I don't take it out when
Oh, that's not good. We're supposed to get you and Mario. So this is all live. Mario, I'm calling you back right now. Nate, you talk to everybody while I get Mario back on here.
I will. I'm always here to help, Max.
Thank you. Well, you're breaking this live stream at the moment.
Not my intention, Max.
I know. Listen, tell us how great Mario's car is.
It's wonderful, man. Especially if I was ever in the Boston area, I would love to know who he got to detail that car, man. I consider myself kind of a detail guy as well, and I could never get my car looking the way that car looks. That car looks.
Oh, Mario, I'm so sorry that happened. Okay, this is what happens when you try and make things up live.
No problem.
Anyway, we're gonna leave Nate. I'm gonna leave him out of that. That was just me testing something live. I was hoping to bring both of you in, but he was asking some question about. He knows the Boston area, and he said that your car was delivered like in top spec. I don't know if you heard him.
No, I didn't hear it. The car has the heated seats.
Okay.
It does have the heated seats. Like Nate had mentioned in his video, the radio is not the best, but I could care less because I've never really turned it on. I listen to the music of the engine.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people upgrade to the touch screens. I'm kind of leery of doing any modifications. The only thing I'm thinking of maybe doing in the near future is maybe a little bit of tinting on the windows.
That's a nice touch, actually.
Just nothing crazy, nothing too dramatic. Just to protect the interior, in the summertime.
Yeah, no, I think I was thinking about doing that as well, but I think I needed to look into the legality because I think the side tints can be different to like doing some of the rear tints around here. So I think different states have different rules.
Yeah, I talked to a tinter. I think the magic number is they can only go up to number 35, I believe, 32 or 35 on the darkness of it. But I think tinting would add a nice little flair to the car. Plus, it helps preserve the interior on the hot days.
I was going to say, I mean, you said you kind of get quite cold winters there, but what are the summers like? Are they really hot?
Brutal here. They're very humid. We have a lot of humidity. So when you're out and about, and the Cayman is just so wide open with all the glass, you get the heat in there, of course. So I think a little tint wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, I've kind of heard an issue that's quite common in the US is that the headliner can sag when the glue kind of melts or something.
Yeah, I've seen that. And you know what? I checked that before I bought the car because they told me it was originally from Arizona where it's 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But no issues on my car. It's really tight up there, the headliner.
Wow. That's good to know because I think it's purely glue. There's no staples in there. And I think they kind of tried to fix that in later models.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be a pain. The only little slight blemish on the car would be on the temperature knobs. That wearing that goes on the temperature knobs.
Okay. So what's happened there? It's in some of the paint's come off.
Yeah, some of that black rubberized paint has come off.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, you'll have to excuse me. I'm just trying to make things up as I go along.
I completely understand, and I hope everybody else understands as well.
Yeah, so we've kind of got all three of us. We've got Mario center stage. Mario,
how are you?
Yeah, when you watch. Yeah, you'll have to watch this later on, Mario. You're center stage. You got Nate on the left, I'm on the right, and yeah, Nate was just saying how great your car is. He was fielding a lot of questions about how. Well, why don't I just hand over to you, Nate? Tell us what you were thinking about his car.
No, as I was saying before, the car, for the year that car looks absolutely immaculate. Kudos to you, Mario.
Thank you.
I prescribe to the same notion of how you take care of your cars. My cars barely come out in winter, at least until there's been a good rainfall to wash, the snow and, the ice melting materials off of the street. I try not to bring them out in rainy conditions either. You know, I've gotten caught in the rain, obviously, you know, a few times, but you can't predict the weather. But
Right.
just, you know, how you take care of your vehicles, I mean, kudos to you. Absolutely kudos. If I'm ever in the Boston area, I'd love to have the number of your detailer because they did a fantastic job on that car. I fancy myself as a bit of a detailer myself, and I could never get my car to look the way your car looks.
Yeah, my detailer, he's a great, kind man, and he is super great at his craft. I mean, he went and took out some light scratches for me, and his shop is just equipped with all the right stuff. But you know, when you look for a detailer, you know, they got to take their time on every car. If you see cars in and out of there, they can't give the love and attention to every single
Absolutely
car.
right.
It's business, you know.
Absolutely right.
You know, the way he books his jobs, you know, he tells people, you got to be patient. I want to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, I never thought of that. If you're seeing cars, if it's an assembly line system, there's no way that they can devote the proper attention
There's no way.
to your vehicle. Yeah, that's an excellent point.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, Mario, your car was a one-owner car, so the mileage to me is super low. I mean, he's got a 2006 Gen 1 it was 42,000 miles, you said, when you picked up the car?
46,000.
46.
Wow.
I mean, that's super low. I mean, Nate's, because, I mean, how many you've put on a lot of miles on your car, but did you purchase yours with around 46 on as well? Or?
No, 35,000. It was 35.
35.
Yeah, I was lucky. In 2015, it was 35,000 on it. Mine's a 2010.
Yeah.
35,000. I now have 62,000.
See, this is kind of what surprises me. Coming from the UK, like the US is massive. It's like 20 miles to go down the road to buy some milk or something. So, you know, like
but Max, you don't see a lot of Caymans out there. Nate,
no,
I don't know. Nate,
no, Mario's right.
I mean, you do not see a lot of Caymans out there. I actually ran into a gentleman at the supermarket the other day who had the same exact year model. Only difference was that he had an S with the midnight metallic and the sand beige. We were in the parking lot for like an hour chit-chatting. Like, he even told me, he goes, I'm so happy to see your car because I just don't see them around.
Absolutely. It's the equivalent of being on Noah's Ark. There's only one other animal on the entire boat with you that, you know, looks the same and, you know, acts the same. You know, it's very rare occasion seeing another Cayman.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a great thing about it too is it gets a lot of attention, Max and Nate. You know, it's a head turner. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. People want to know what it is. They kind of don't quite know whether it's a 911 or not, you know, but they're very intrigued by it. You know, some people actually believe it looks better. You know, I mean, I'm not going to get into that debate whether it does or whether it doesn't. You know,
Right.
But, you know, my money's on Pinky all day, every day.
Me
too.
So,
yeah, so, you know, that's how I feel about it. You know, the lines they're just timeless. They're stunning. It's, you know, it's classic Porsche versus modern Porsche. And there's nothing wrong with either, you know, as far as the 987 and 981 and the 718.
I agree. I totally agree.
My geography is a bit poor, but I know you're in Boston, Mario, and then Nate, you're like Philadelphia. So how far is these two states?
What would you say, Mario? About 130 miles, maybe?
Yeah, maybe like a 4-hour drive.
Yes,
Okay,
that's about right.
Okay, yeah, because
That's about right.
4 hours.
yeah, because I think
I drove to Greenwich once, Greenwich, Connecticut, and that was about 4 hours.
Yeah, because at some point I want to do a Max REVS USA meetup, and I need to figure out where in the USA we're going to do the meet. So
wherever you want, we'll meet up, Max.
Exactly.
Pick your spot.
Yeah,
exactly. We got to get that done.
Yeah, you've got the best. I mean, I know some people think that, you know, the Cayman, it's the handling, it's the corners, but I just love even doing motorway journeys in my Cayman, like straight roads, you know. So I love just eating up the miles in my car.
I took the car out yesterday and just drove to nowhere.
I did the same thing.
Exactly. Because we're getting good weather in the Northeast.
I had a buddy of mine who owns a 2018 Mercedes E-Class, and I've actually been pumping him up to look at the new Caymans, and he did. We went to the Porsche dealership together. Now we're working on his wife to say yes.
Oh,
and
wow.
Well, you got to work on the practicality. You have 2 trunks.
I like it. Yeah, keep going. I like it.
You have less seats, but you're gonna have a daily driver anyway. So 2 trunks, that's how you sell it.
Yeah, I mean the thing that my friend was talking about the most yesterday is, it's just the car doesn't move when you turn. It's a Porsche. It hugs the road. It takes it and it wants to go.
Exactly. With this mid-engine design, the car pivots around your hips. It's everything's around your hips. It's around your belt line. Not to take away from what Pinky said the other day. Belt line. Everything's around your belt line in this car. It's such a wonderful vehicle. I just thank God that Porsche created this car. I do believe they're going to appreciate in value. I don't think it's going to be long now. You know what I mean? But that's not why we bought the car, to begin with. But I'm glad I have it.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. If Porsche dropped in a stronger engine in the 911, there'd be a lot of mad 911 owners out there, because with that mid-engine design, I think it would really take over the 911 in performance.
Well, you say this, Mary. The GT4 RS, like if the figures are true, it's 500 brake horsepower in a Cayman. And that's crazy stuff, if that's going to come true. So what I wasn't too sure, obviously Pinky hasn't worked at Porsche for quite long, but I'd like to think, like, if we're going to guess, Mario, where would you say the Cayman's going to go? Because we know there's going to be another one after the 718 that is not fully electric. So, where do you think the car's going to go in terms of, like, power, kind of powertrains? Is it something that, because you said your friend's just bought a 718, is that right? Or he's about to?
Looking into it.
So did he get a really good deal because that's the 4-cylinder car, or the price is still strong over there?
Yeah, he hasn't got the 718 yet. He was just kicking some tires. He's maybe a few months away of really getting serious into looking into them. But as the car evolves, I think they're going to put a little bit more power in it, and the design is always going to be close to the original. I mean, they have to. A Cayman is a Cayman.
Yeah. Right. And I don't know if you guys know, but the 718s have a lot of suspension componentry from, I believe, either the last generation 911S, or it's either some GT3 componentry up there too. So they're really handling on rails now. They're not skimping. Whether you believe in the whole 4-cylinder thing or not, that's neither here nor there. We're not going to get into that here. But the car really handles on rails.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hey, Nate, I'm going to stop you here. We've got some family greetings here. Mario, we've got another Mario from Greece. It's your cousin. He's joined us for the live stream.
Yeah, Sumarino, sopa.
That's great.
Greece, believe it or not, Greece is my favourite place to go on holiday, because when we had young kids there, Thessaloniki, there's basically a hotel in Thessaloniki.
Out of Greece. Yeah, and I've touched base with quite a few Cayman owners in Athens, Greece as well, really? On some of the other forums. And man, do they have some great roads in Greece to take their cars out on.
Right.
Over by the Mediterranean Ocean on a mountainside. Hey, maybe one day I'll put it on a boat and enjoy it. You never know.
Right.
So Nate, I want to do a quick experiment here. Can you see Mario, by the way? Because I can
see both of you guys.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I'm going to see, like, if I can now just sit back, and can you ask Mario some questions for me? I want to see how the Max REVS interview looks when Max is not asking the question. And Mario, forgive me here, but we were talking off camera. I feel so comfortable today that I'm really just we have just had a live stream with Pinky Lai a couple of days ago, okay? And we're all getting to know each other on this channel, so that's kind of why I just thought let's just go crazy today, because I was on a bit of a high. It's the long weekend. Tomorrow's a day off for us, so
let's just coming off the Pinky Lai high.
Exactly.
Right, the Pinky Lai high. I like that.
I like it.
Hey Mario, what kind of fuel mileage are you achieving in the car? Not that it matters. That's not why we buy these cars, but.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't paid much attention to it. I haven't gone on any super long drives, to be honest with you. I've been keeping it local. From what I can see, maybe about 27, 28 miles to the gallon if I'm on the highway.
Right, and that's the reason I asked you, because that's been one of the bigger surprises of owning these cars too, is how fuel efficient these cars are as well.
Yeah, for a little sports car, it does pretty well.
Yeah, even with your foot in it, you'll see the mileage go down a little bit, but even with your foot in it, I'm very surprised.
Well, you're a police officer, right? So I don't speed.
Oh yeah, that's a trick question. I was laughing because someone's just put a comment up on the channel that just told me to sit back and relax, and it's like I'm watching a live stream. So this is great. Just a quick one, Mario. We had a question come in, and it was about Greek tradition. So someone is saying, is it true that when you buy a car, you kind of throw coins in the air?
Absolutely, man. The rain comes down. You got to start ducking, watching out.
That's a great tradition.
High rollers throw the bills down, but most people are throwing those coins right in that driver's seat. And the tradition is for good luck, safety, and we christen the car.
Oh, cool. Because I think the guy asking the question, Parvin, so he's an Indian chap, and I think someone was asking, he had like a little a religious idol figure on his dashboard, or he's hidden somewhere. And I remember one of the comments on his video was, what's that little thing on the dash? So I know that, we all, different customs have different traditions for safety and stuff.
Custom. Anytime somebody buys a car, we always throw the coins in the passenger's footwell for luck and safety. Always.
That is a wonderful tradition, Mario. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we like to break plates. We throw coins. We're a little adventurous culture.
Right.
It's a very hospitable culture, I have to say, though. That's one thing I did like about Greece is I think we spent a couple of times where we kind of stayed in the hotels, but once you kind of go out and a little bit, you explore the country, some of these churches. There were these amazing like church caves where you go in, and there were things like strings and ropes and people's toys, and then someone told us that when you make a wish for something good, you leave something from your house there.
Correct.
Right.
My cousin, who said hello on the live stream a few minutes ago, I baptized him, and the church he was baptized in had 2 tree trunks growing inside the church. It's a tiny little church on a mountainside. Very beautiful. Greece is a great place to visit and drive your Cayman.
Wow.
So when's the last time you've been to Greece then?
It's been 2 years, and we were planning on going this summer, but with everything going on, I have 2 little kids with my wife. We want to be cautious this year, but it's okay.
Understandable.
Well, listen, this channel's growing. We've got Nate, who's a police officer. Well, we've got someone here. I'm not going to say who it is. He's an airline pilot. So if we can get him to charter a flight for us, okay, and then
the Holy Triumvirate.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell the airline pilot that I work at an international airport, so we have something in common.
Oh, cool. Wow. So I'm not going to mention your name, but you know who you are, Mr. Airline Pilot, okay? We've got a guy that could get us a landing slot. We just need you to kind of like let us all come on board, maybe drive our cars underneath. There we go.
Right. Hey, Max, I've been meaning to send you a graphic that I pulled off of a website, that lends itself to something that Pinky said during the live stream of don't sell these cars.
Absolutely.
I'm going to send you guys a graphic of what I pulled, the numbers, how few of these cars were actually made. It will blow you guys away.
Oh, really?
It is,
I've been looking for that. I haven't been able to find the production run.
Yeah, Mario, I'm going to send that to Max as soon as we're done the live stream. I can tell you that my 2010, there are only 600 cars in North America. 600. Wow. So, really? It really lends itself to what Pinky said. Do not sell these cars. Do not.
But there's only one problem with the cars you've got, and the steering wheel's on the wrong side, though.
That's opinion. That's a matter of opinion. But since we're on your program, I'm going to take it.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Nah, I know, Max. I know. But I can't wait to send you this graphic, man. It'll blow you away, man, especially compared to how many 996s were produced. This is merely a drop in the bucket. We are very lucky, very fortunate to have this car.
I don't want to get controversial here, but I know something. When I was speaking to Pinky, and I said mine was in aqua blue, Pinky did say, oh yeah, that's a nice colour. So I was wondering, like, a breakdown by colour choice as well. Like midnight blue, I think it's probably the rarest on the 987. I hardly.
Yeah,
I don't have. It doesn't break down as far as that.
The color takes different form in the shade and the sunlight. It's a lot darker in the shade, and then when you get that right pop of sunlight, you really start to see the blue metallic in there. But I was hoping to find a white one like Nate's, because our older 911s were white, but I'll take the midnight blue metallic second.
It's a beautiful color choice, Mario. You did not go wrong with that color choice at all, especially when that car is as spotless as you keep it. Bravo, man. Bravo.
I try to do my best. I want to keep
doing very well.
Yeah, actually, I just remembered why I called you in on the live stream, because when you called out the wheels, like that level of knowledge to me, Sports Cup Edition 4 wheels, your 987s well. I
honestly, not bragging at all. I don't want to sound like a tool bag guy, but I know Porsches. I just know Porsche. I love the brand. I love what they stand for. I think they're kind of, as I said in your live stream with you and I, they're kind of losing their way a little bit, due to emissions and, fuel economy standards and whatnot. But I just love the brand. I think they're going to be the last man standing as far as, traditional, conventional sports cars, and I fell in love with these guys after I left the world of BMW, and, I can't see myself driving anything else at this point.
I'm with you on that one. I'm with you.
So listen, Nate, what I'm going to do, I feel a bit bad, Mario, that I brought Nate in. So I'm going to kick him off the channel now, and then I'm only kidding. I'm going to say goodbye to you now, and then we're going to get a bit of like one-to-one time with Mario, and then we'll just try and touch upon a few things as we wrap up. But this is a great experiment for me doing this live because
Nate, anytime. Nate's a passionate owner. I respect him. I love his vehicle, and it's nice to get to talk to you, Nate.
Okay.
I appreciate that, Mario. Thank you both.
I'll tell you what. No, you can stand. While you're there, let me see if I can somehow make you like a lot smaller or something, Nate. Let's just see how this thing works. Oh no, you've gone big now. There we go. Okay. Anyway. Oh, you know what? I'm going to say goodbye to you. Or Nate, just drop off, and then I'll. But listen, no offense intended, Nate. I'm not trying to kick you off or nothing. But I just, no. Personally, I feel bad that I should be sort of focusing on my job here, which is to spend some time with Mario. And I've completely messed up the cameras.
Accommodating me, and I did not mean to butt in, guys.
Oh no.
Anytime.
I so love this Sunday tradition that I just couldn't help myself. Max asked me to come, and I came running.
Nate, were you able to stay awake for Pinky Live the other day, or did you watch it afterwards?
I came in about 45 minutes in. I just could not get myself up.
Yeah, it was really early for us.
Right at the tail end.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's a pleasure talking to you both. And enjoy life in cars to the max.
Oh, yes. I've completely messed up the camera angles now, so let's just see what happens. So that was... I hope you didn't mind me calling in Nate there, but he seemed to know so much about your car.
It was great to have him on.
Yeah, exactly. It made me realise that I actually don't know that much about some of the Gen 1 specifics, and it really helped Nate having the kind of the broader knowledge there just to sort of fill in the gaps.
And Max, I'll send you that graphic that I have as soon as we're done today.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome. That would really be awesome, actually.
Yeah, you'll be blown away, guys. But I'll see you guys later. Take care.
Okay, take it easy, man.
Right.
There you go. Yeah, no, that was really good covering some of those issues. I think your cousin was saying you need to organise a road trip in a village that's named after you. So I'll put his comment up. It's your village is Palapuki, yeah?
Yes. Beautiful village in the southern part of Greece. Beautiful mountain roads. Goes right into the seaside. It's amazing.
Wow. So we have to organise a road trip, yeah?
Yeah, well, he wants to come and visit here, and the first thing out of his mouth was, how quick do I get the keys to the car?
Oh, wow. So who was that other guy that had driven your car and said it handled really well? Was that a friend of yours?
That's my best friend. That's Attorney Terry, Mr. Attorney Terry. And he took this is the second time that he drove the car yesterday, and his mouth was open the whole time. He's the one that's looking into the purchase of a 718 down the road.
Good, gotcha. I mean, try and negotiate hard. I know the sales guy will say we can't budge on price, but I know as far as the UK goes, the 4-cylinder 718, it's struggled to sell a bit. And right now, very few people are buying cars, so try and leverage your position.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people reviewing the 4-cylinder 718. I mean, obviously, it's not a terrible vehicle. It's just lacking the pop of the 6-cylinder engine.
Yeah.
So maybe there's some improvement.
I haven't driven one, but there's part of me that thinks it would plug a little problem that I have with our naturally aspirated engines, and that's the lack of torque low down. Because I was literally, I had a lot of time on my hands driving last couple of days, and I was just, it's not until after 4,000 RPM that my car gets going. So I don't know how you feel in your car.
It could be a problem in many ways because, I mean, they're so technologically further advanced, these newer cars, that we might forget about our older ones. So I'm good. I don't even want to go near it.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, price-wise, we're talking a big price differences. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we were looking at the newer Caymans a couple weeks ago. A bunch of us had gone to the Porsche dealership. They were closed. We were just hanging out outside. Probably, I mean, starting, you're looking at $60,000.
Wow.
And then with all the options, you can even go up to $70,000, $80,000. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. You said you had heated seats. So once you start adding in the options, the good thing about buying the used car is that you don't really pay so much for the options. It's just more of a desirable feature that helps the car sell, but you don't pay through the options through the nose.
Well, somebody else picked it, and we get to enjoy it as a used vehicle.
Well, here's a comment. So I know a guy in the UK just drove a 718 Cayman T 5 days ago. So that's the 2-litre 4-cylinder engine. The guy owns a 981 GT4, and he just said that is a very capable car. So, you know, that's kind of why I know a lot of people knock certain Caymans, but I think they're all great cars, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself a little bit of a purist. You know, I like the feeling of having an older vehicle and having it progress in my life to a different stage. You know, I'm curious to see where they go financially, and I'm really not interested in the newer cars to purchase one. I mean, I'd love to drive one, test drive one, but I'd like historically to have an older vehicle and keep up with it and enjoy it and see where it goes.
Yeah, I think something I've learned from speaking to you is that, I mean, this is my first ever Porsche. My family's never owned one before, but I guess because you've got the kind of legacy of having that 911T. I mean, you had like a prom event next to that car, so there's a lot of history attached to these vehicles, and I can see how you would have a much more, I guess, mature and long-term thinking attitude than maybe me, who doesn't quite know how important these cars can get into your soul.
Yeah, you know, I was 12 years old when we got the first one and started rebuilding it and restoring it. And then after we got the second one, and, you know, just the connection it has with my dad and my brother, and my father's no longer with us. So, you know, bringing another Porsche back into the house now, it's just so much fun for me and my son to be, you know, he's little, but he helps me wash it or, you know, hang out and, you know, hopefully go to some Porsche events down the road. But absolutely, I mean, having an older vehicle sometimes is cooler than having the new one because so many people don't know about the historical cars or a classic car. You actually end up getting more attention. Or if you see a brand new Porsche, you know, people see them all the time. But when's the last time you saw an older Cayman or 911?
Yeah. No, those are very wise words, very wise. And it's amazing how quickly things could move, because you said it's only a few months ago you were on that Facebook forum saying how the 987 could be a classic, and people were just saying no way, laughing at you.
They ripped me apart. They were having nothing to do with me in that conversation. And I'm glad Nate brought up that he has some of the production figures, because people were saying there was too many of them made. The 2.7 is not as fast as the S. And I'm gonna stick to what Pinky said. He said, "Don't sell our cars," and I think he's gonna come out right with that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'll be brutally honest. I don't really have the money to even switch up the car, even if I wanted. So I'm kind of happy in both respects there.
Yeah, me too, Max. I don't want to. You know, people buy a car and every 2-3 years they're changing it. You know, an everyday car. Yeah. But when you have a car that's progressing towards classic, give it a chance. Let's see what the end result is. And if it doesn't go high up in value, it doesn't matter, because you're still enjoying a fantastic vehicle and one of the most beautiful cars ever sculpted by Porsche.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if the person who told me this is actually on the channel right now, but if you finance your car, some strange things are happening in the market with this whole virus issue and the used car prices, because if you finance a car on, say, a 2-year deal, at the end of the 2 year, at the beginning of the deal, they predict what the value will be at the end of that 2-year period. and let's just say, even on a used car, let's just say at the end of 2 years, the value they say is $25,000. If the second-hand market has dropped, but the real value is only $20,000, then you're left with that shortfall. So this finance thing is quite a dangerous game for me, and it doesn't suit well with me.
Yeah, see, that's why I'm not worried about that. I'm keeping mine for as long as I can, for many, many years. That's why I take care of it. I'm not a teenager. I don't go out there and beat the piss out of the car. I have spirited drives, but I enjoy it. I take care of it. And that's the way we used to take care of our older 911s as well.
Wow, this is a great story. So I know I'm about 10 minutes over, so sorry about that. And it's been wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to sort of share with anyone before we kind of wrap it up?
Yeah, if people are in the market for the older 987, I wouldn't hesitate. You want to get a little bit history on the car, make sure everything matches out, and take the car out for a drive. And you can tell when the Cayman's on spot. You can tell you have a solid car, on your grip. And I've been very lucky with your channel. It really helped me out with researching the car further, and I'd like to thank you for that, Max. Your channel is a great inspiration for all of us.
Well, no, I have to thank you, and I probably have to apologise a little bit. I think I'm on that Pinky Lai high that you kind of mentioned. And
I still am too.
I watched that video. I'm on the third time watching it now. Second time I kind of put the time codes down. And
at the 44-minute, 44-second mark, he says, "Max, don't sell your car. Keep it." 44 minutes, 44 seconds.
Wow. I missed that time code there. But, so apologise if I was trying to bring Nate in, because I was just going a bit crazy, and I saw he was punching in so many comments there. I thought, let's just bring him here and he can just answer all these stuff.
He's a great guy and a very informed.
That's fantastic. So thank you so much, Mario, for sharing this time with us. Enjoying Life and Cars to the max. This was episode 8.5, and I'm pretty sure episode 9 next week is with Blackstone Laboratories. As Mario said, he got his engine oil tested with these guys who do like a blood analysis and all these different elements. We'll go over that next week. Mario, thank you so much for sharing time with us, sharing your car, sharing the family story. And enjoying Life and Cars. And until the next time, see you later, guys. Bye.